Hi, today I'm here to talk about the Atlantic Avenue Mixed-Use Plan, which is a collaborative, community-driven plan to help create urgently needed homes and jobs to a section along Atlantic Avenue, while also improving the streets, parks, and other infrastructure. The Atlantic Avenue Plan is led by the Department of City Planning in partnership with other city agencies and City Council members Hudson and Ossé. This plan specifically focuses on a section of Atlantic Avenue between Vanderbilt Avenue to the west, Nostrand Avenue to the east, and Crown Heights, Prospect Heights, and Bedford-Stuyvesant. The planning process began with several years of community engagement. We heard from hundreds of people and held over 20 meetings. Then we released a community priorities and vision report and shared a draft zoning framework to show how updated zoning could spark the creation of new homes, including affordable housing and more jobs. Now, as we head into the fall, we're getting ready to take the next step and begin what's called the public review. We'll talk about public review a little later. But first, let's take a step back and talk about the history of Atlantic Avenue and how we arrived at this plan. In the 1800s, a freight and passenger rail line ran along Atlantic Avenue, transporting goods and materials between New York City and Long Island. This led many warehouses and industrial businesses to open along the corridor. Over the next few decades, automobile use skyrocketed. Gas stations, repair shops, and garages began to concentrate along the corridor. In 1961, there were major changes to New York City zoning rules. This section of Atlantic Avenue became a low-density industrial M11 zoning district. This reinforced its auto-oriented, low-rise character. Housing was no longer allowed at all. Since 1961, zoning along Atlantic Avenue has remained largely unchanged, and the corridor is lined with vacant spaces and underused warehouses. Meanwhile, there has been soaring demand to live and work in the surrounding neighborhoods of Prospect Heights, Crown Heights, Clinton Hill, and Bed-Stuy. This puts pressure on the area's housing stock to meet demand and causes rents to rise for tenants. Because of these issues, and after the approval of several private rezoning proposals, many local residents and leaders called for a holistic neighborhood-wide plan. So, in January 2023, the city joined council member Hudson to kick off a public engagement effort, with working groups, open houses, workshops, and steering committee. In September 2023, the Atlantic Avenue Community Vision and Priorities Report was released. The report summarized the top priorities we heard, including the need for more housing, including affordable housing, spaces for jobs, and street and park improvements. After releasing the report, we shared the draft zoning framework and held a public scoping meeting. Let's talk about the zoning framework. It shows how the plan is going to change the zoning rules to encourage more housing and jobs. Specifically, it would allow higher density apartment buildings along Atlantic Avenue and medium density buildings along Bergen, Dean, and Pacific Streets. Between 20 to 30% of these homes would be required to be permanently affordable and income restricted through mandatory inclusionary housing. New buildings on city-owned sites would have up to 100% affordable income restricted housing. To support job creation, new buildings along Atlantic Avenue and the North-South Avenues would be required to have new businesses and community facilities on the ground floor. In the mid-block areas, there would be an incentive for the first and second floor to be job spaces. Another big priority of this plan is making Atlantic Avenue safer and more pedestrian-friendly. To accomplish this, we're coordinating with the Department of Transportation on short and long-term strategies to redesign the corridor, and we're updating the zoning rules to ensure that buildings are set back from the sidewalk. This helps make Atlantic Avenue more walkable. The Atlantic Avenue plan also supports investments for parks, job training, and local businesses. One project already underway is the multi-million-dollar renovation of St. Andrew's Playground, a 3-acre park nearby in Bed-Stuy. So that's a snapshot of the Atlantic Avenue plan so far. Now we're going to discuss a key part of the planning process that's happening right now, environmental review. Environmental review is a way to determine if land use actions have a negative impact and propose ways to mitigate them. It covers a wide range of topics, from shadows and open space to transportation and air quality. Some projects are small and don't require environmental review. Larger projects and neighborhood plans do require this review, including the Atlantic Avenue Mixed-Use Plan. Right now, we're preparing the draft environmental impact statement. The draft statement will be released to the public early this fall when the public review process begins. The public review process is the next big step for the Atlantic Avenue plan. So let's dig in. The official name for a public review is Uniform Land Use Review Procedure, or more simply, ULURP. ULURP is the official New York City process for approving land use changes. It will involve a series of reviews and hearings by Community Boards 3 and 8, the Brooklyn Borough President, and the City Planning Commission. If the City Planning Commission votes to approve the plan, it goes to the City Council for a final review and vote. We're so grateful for everyone that's helped develop this plan so far, and we're eager to continue working with you as the public review gets underway. So stay tuned, stay in touch. Through this plan, we can bring more homes, more jobs, and pedestrian-friendly streets that Atlantic Avenue needs.